Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're doing a video that I generally don't do, and that is a showcase for the free-to-play Protector that comes out with every meta. And the reason I don't do them is because most of them are hot dog shit. But, ironically, Ranga is not really a dog, but he's pretty good, quite honestly. He's one of probably the better free-to-play protectors we've had in a long time. So, he is buffing, Festive Memories damage against space 30%, whereas, Diablo and other protectors are doing 100 to 130% or something, so it's much lower. And then Festive Memories characters get attack 12%, whereas Diablo would give 25% attack and defense. And then Ranga's skill, which is only at level 7, because we're doing this quite early, changes all blues to greens, and puts the Dread status on for 2 turns, which enhances debuffs. And then a control stack, right now it's 88% chance, because it's only level 7. If it was level 10, it'd be 100% chance. But control, which also enhances debuffs, and at the end of the turn gives you 15% weakness strike per stack, and that lasts for also 2 turns. So he's got 2 different skills that's going to make debuffs hit even harder. Great. That's all he's got, but quite honestly, that's all you really need if you've got a good enough team. So let's put him on a good enough team and show off what this free-to-play Ranga can do with a solid optimal build. Alright, so I used this team for the Inferno 1 video that went out a couple days ago. However, we're now going to go into Dire 2, the highest difficulty, where Milim now has almost 10.5 million HP, up from like 3.2 or 7.2 million. So we've got a couple extra million HP to deal with. But with a solid foundational team with Blanc, Isis, the new masked hero, Frey, and Ninehead, not needing any of the other summonable characters from Festive Memories, we're about to do a butt ton of damage. We just need the turn 2 hand to work for us. And would you look at that, turn 2 worked out for us. So, we've already sent the 6 greens orbs, we've already used the Frostbite effect, which is enhancing debuffs by 30%. So now, what we can do is we could use the ult resistance down and the Drago buff. Boom, boom. Okay, looking good. We still have 69 points. Let's bring the hero in for Isis and use the rewind with her. Awesome. And then we can bring Blanc in. Boom. And we could use her free 40 points. Boom. And then that will give us enough to use the personal buff with Ninehead. Okay. Looking good. I guess we could do this as well to give us the pierce rate and the weakness resistance down. So, hey, why not? We don't have an ult to bring forward, but it's not really a big deal. We've got a lot of skills to use now. So right now, that ult resistance we have is up to 156, because Isis starts at 120, and then we have a 30% increase from the Frostbite skill. Now, let's use Ranga, who is going to convert all these blue orbs, and put the Dread and Control status on. And now we look at Milim, and that ult resistance has now fully doubled. It's to 240%. Weakness resistance 150, magic resistance down by 60%. Which, this is a magic nuking character, because Ninehead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Max points again, another Ranga. Another Ranga doesn't really matter all that much, because the control stacks for weakness strike only kicks in at the end of a real turn. Which this is not a real turn, technically. It is just turn 2.5. So we're not going to get those. But what we do have is 170, 195 points with the Heartscape. So, let's do the big time debuff with Blanc. Okay, cool. And then we'll bring in the masked hero after we use the extra skill points. And that'll put us up to 80. And then we got to use the Heartscape to give us the extra 25 points, and that will allow us to use the Synergy Resistance debuff with the hero. So Milim right now, she has 120% Synergy Resistance, and the hero does it 110. So technically, normally, if we were to use this skill without any of these modifiers, we would be minus 10% synergy resistance, and that wouldn't be good because that would nerf our damage. However, with all three of these debuff enhancing effects, we are now at 220%. So we are just completely negating all of hers and still getting benefit. And Ranga won't change his oranges, not a big deal. We can use him again just for funsies though. Because he's a 4-star protector, he doesn't have an animation, but hey. 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, we can do that? Yeah, okay. So let's make sure our animations are on for these characters. We'll send Frey. She's going to give us the 100% weakness strike, 110%, something like that. Anyways, she's going to do some damage and give Ninehead some extra weakness strike. That's the most important thing. Frost Descent does 1.3 million damage. Okay. She's a support ult. Ninehead, though, as a free-to-play, non-EX character, does 15.2 million. And one-shots, because this Milim only has 10.4 million. This is dire 2. This is the most difficult stage of this beatdown battle for this meta. And we just two-turned it using a free-to-play protector and a free-to-play DPS. Now, granted, the other characters are quite strong, right? But I can't remember the last time I was able to say that we went into a beatdown battle and beat it with a free-to-play protector and free-to-play DPS. Maybe Tails, but even then, the protector for that team was not great. So, Ranga, gonna be pretty useful. Now, what happens if you don't put him on such a wanked out team where you have mostly brand new EX Unbound characters, and you put him on a team that has slightly lower value units, but still kind of have some debuffs? Well, Ranga does lose a lot of his efficiency because the team now has to be built quite well for it to work at all. So, we've got the Exalted Champions Veldora with his own orb changing and the green buff. We've got the OG Space Master Hero for the crit and crit resistance down, which is going to be enhanced. We've got Dark Milim for orb changing and alt buff. And then we've got Light Raphael, who has alt resistance down, so we can take advantage of that. And then we've got, as a primary DPS character, Bride Shuna. So none of these characters are recent except for Ranga himself. And the team is much, much less powerful. And the shortcomings of Ranga may come into play a little bit on stages where you're not super hyper-focused on a whole butt-ton of debuffs, and you're running a slightly more traditional team build, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a lot of debuffs to use, the only thing Ranga's doing is blue orb changing. And that's about it. And giving you weakness strike stacks, I guess, if you can get a lot of him. So if we go into one of the most recent story quest fights against, I forget his name, but Mirror World Benimaru Evolution, I guess. We have the starting hand, we have 5 orbs. We're going to give them all to Raphael, since Raphael, we want to get him his ult a little bit more. Shuna is able to steal, so we don't have to worry about her as much, especially when we can steal this hand. But Ranga, not going to do anything in this turn, even though we can use him. Really, he's not going to change any orbs. We can get a weakness strike stack off of him, which is cool. And because Raphael and the hero have protection gauge traits on turn 3, we could bring the hero in, and then we could get a Ranga for turn 3 as well. So he's not converting anything. The dread isn't enhancing anything. The control isn't doing anything, but giving us weakness strike, which is 15%, because we only have 1 stack, and there's only 1 enemy it's on. So it does make Raphael and Shuna hit a little harder, which is cool, I guess. So there's the weakness strike stack. Shuna has her EX ult. Awesome. She can go away now, and because of the traits from Raph and Hero, we have access to another Ranga, who is actually going to do something on this turn, because we take Shuna out, we have 4 blues and 2 oranges. Because my Milim is skill fused, she could change those 2 oranges. So, let's go ahead and use Ranga. Convert 4 orbs. Awesome. Use Milim. Convert those 2 orbs. We can use the rewind as well, because now we're really going to bank on the control stacks. We've got 2 of them right now. And then because of the green buff with Veldora, we're going to get another one on the rewind turn. So now Raphael is going to get 3 stacks of weakness strikes, so 45% extra when it kicks over to turn 4. And we have another good hand where we only need to use Ranga. Like, we don't need to bring Veldora in for anything. So that's another stack. Now we're going to ensure that we have enough points to do all 3 of our buffs when we use the Heartscape. We're going to be missing Shuna's personal buff, which is light and crit damage, which is kind of important, but we don't truly need it here because we've got 3 different alts coming, and we've got a lot of weakness strike on Raph now. So we could use the alt buff with Milim, we could take her out, and then we can bring Shuna in, and that will give us 3 alts and 2 orbs to do. And this is before whatever his name puts another barrier up, so we do want to nuke here. So boom, alt resistance down, pierce rate up, the Heartscape gives us 25. That allows us to use the hero crit, and then the crit resistance. So now we're ready to go. We could use Ranga again, I guess. He's not going to convert anything because, again, we don't have any blues. And the weakness strike only matters at the end of the turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The hero, 107. Raph, 413. And then Shuna, 612 with her EX alt. So, yeah. Did we build a team that could take on this expert difficulty stage for Chapter 30? Yes. Is it super duper uber powerful? Were we doing 16 million damage? No. Did we need to do 16 million damage? Also, no. We just needed the team to work, and technically Ranga, in this video, did work very well. But if you're not running a debuff team at all, and it's just normal buffs, and you're trying to stack or something, Ranga's really not going to get all that stuff done for you, because he's not doing much else in terms of a stacking team. Because he's not raising your skill cap, he's not resetting your skills when you use him or something. He is just mostly built upon debuffs. So if you have a team that wants that, fantastic. If you don't have a team that wants that, you can be a bit underpowered. So he's going to be really, really, really strong in very specific settings, which makes him a lot better than some of the other shenanigans free-to-play characters that protectors that we've gotten that are just not good in general. Like, oh, you change 2 oranges to greens and you give 80% pierce rate. Like, no, that's ass. Ranga is much, much better than that. But if you're going to go into dedicated content where he's not debuff-centric, he is going to lose a lot of value. So hyper-specific, really, really good for that, especially when you have a good team, as we saw in Dire 2. Like, that's the first time I've used a free-to-play protector in Dire 2. Really good. Anywhere else, not focusing on greens and not focusing on debuffs, not very good. So he's kind of just like a one-trick pony, I guess? But a really, really good pony in that one trick. Let me know what you guys think of Ranga. Do you find yourself using him more than me, or in more scenarios than I'm thinking? Let me know in the comments. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.